A regular meeting of the City Council was held in Council Chambers on Thursday, October 11th, 2018 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on October 9th, 2018 at 9:37 a.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. The only councilors absent is Councilor Dominguez, Councilor President Gerard, that's me, presided, and Councilor Milo moved to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Now I request that everyone rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilor McCarthy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So before we get to public testimony, I just want to acknowledge and congratulate our new fire chief, also Ward 6 resident Jerry Junta, who is here in the room. So we have been so grateful for your service over the years, and this is such an honor for us, as I know it is for you, to lead the fire department. So thank you again for your service. Now, public testimony. So first we have Gary Gill, but he is not here. Next we have Ben Winthrop. And I think all of you know the drill at this point, that you will address the comments to me, that this is not a time for question and answer. You will give your name and address for the record.
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Ben Winthrop, 3 Essex Street, Salem, Massachusetts. I'm just here to express my support for having the Kiddie Carnival on the Common. Felt we should have had the Carnival on the Common to begin with. This seems to be a long-running insanity regarding the Carnival on the Common. It needs to stop. We need to allow it. It needs to be present. And as somebody who lives right around the corner from it and walks through it every day, including this morning, and would probably be walking through it now if I wasn't standing here at the moment, I totally support having the Kinney Carnival and any and all other carnivals at the Common. So please do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jeff Cohen.
Jeff Cohen, 12 Hancock Street, and I will not be talking about the carnival. Council President, I am here to speak up against the Planning Board's recommendations to allow non-owner occupied short-term rentals in R1 with special permits. This defeats, it actually contradicts the essence of the ordinance that was passed. During the Planning Board meeting, when this issue was brought up, no public comment was allowed for consideration. I was at another meeting, but when I came in, one of the board members said to me that only minor changes were introduced, which is not true. None of the 4 board members who voted for the change attended any of the public meetings, about 12 hours of them held by a subcommittee chaired by Councilors Dibble and McCarthy, and the public hearing that the mayor's office had. Some of the planning board was obviously at the joint meeting in front of the council, and yet didn't bring this issue up. There has been much public testimony, especially at the last meeting that they were at, from homeowners in R1 zoning about the negative impact non-owner occupied rentals have had in their neighborhoods. The 2 dissenters noted that there are differences for reason between zones and that allowing this usage would be disruptive. One of the key things is, although they recommended this change, they didn't recommend any regulations that would address these units, making it that they would have less regulations than all the other zones. The council's unanimous passage of the ordinance as written was a culmination of the exhaustive hearings and a thoughtful approach that reflected a desire to create an equal playing field, preventively mitigating neighborhood issues, ensuring better quality of life in the neighborhoods, and addressing the diminishing rental stock, which disproportionately affects lower income working class. This ordinance allows regulated short-term rentals of 1 to 2 rooms and adjacent units in owner-occupied properties. So I encourage the council president, to vote down this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Justin Whittier.
Good evening. I'm here to speak about the municipal and religious reuse overlay district that's going to be before you. And I hope that this is something that can be maybe referred to a committee and spend some time there working on it before it goes too far. The ordinance was introduced, and the basic logic to it was that, it's difficult to find a way to preserve and yet reuse these buildings that are especially big and that are in neighborhoods, like churches and schools, which is fine. It's something that I think anyone can understand and support. But the provision, as it's written, the ordinance provides for new construction to also go on these lots, which dimensionally is very large and density-wise is much denser than almost anything that's allowed, which doesn't make sense to me and a lot of other people. And I think so when you examine this question, I hope that you will look to reasonable questions of reuse for these buildings, but take a very hard look at any aspects of new construction. And I would suggest, if new construction is to be had, that it be what is provided for in the underlying district, and not these overly generous and excessive provisions that are in the ordinance now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Gary Santo.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Gary Santo. I live at 25 Washington Square North on the Common. I also serve as chairman of the Finance Committee for the Salem Common Neighborhood Association, and I'm here to provide a little bit of clarification on the children's event that we had submitted a permit for. I did send an email out prior to this to most of the council folks, but I'm not sure if you had a chance to see it. So just a couple of quick clarifications. This event got caught up with the larger discussion of the Haunted Happenings Carnival, and as a result, we found that there was an ordinance that prevented the use of mechanical rides, even the 5 mechanical rides that we had in last year's children's event. As a result, we submitted a revised proposal for this year's event, trimming it down to the 3 bouncy houses and a slide, which was part of last year's, but basically about half of the size of what we were last year. Based on the last council meeting and the potential amendment to the ordinance, we then submitted a revised proposal just the other day that if that ordinance does carry, the amendment does carry, we'd like to include the original 5 rides that we had taken out. So we'd be restoring the event not to a larger size, not to become a new Haunted Happenings Carnival, but to return to the size it was last year with 5 mechanical rides, all geared towards families with young children. And by that, we would say probably under the age of 10, the 36-inch to 42-inch size child, and the ability of parents to go on the rides with them. So the proposal before you seeks to do that. There are 2 clarifications I make. In our haste to get the proposal out, there is a slight discrepancy in that we said there were 6 mechanical rides. We included the slide as a mechanical ride, but I think we can all agree it's not mechanical, no matter how bad a slider you might be. And then the other piece were the hours of operation, which would be 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. for each of the 4 days it would be active. We would need an hour before and an hour after to set up and break down, so 10 to 6, but only hours of operation 11 to 5. So I hope when you get a chance to look at that, it's acceptable to you and we're able to allow us to have the children's event with the mechanical rides this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Elizabeth Aberg.
Thank you. My name's Elizabeth Aberg, and I live at 10 Forester Street on the Common, and I'm a dues-paying member of the Salem Common Neighborhood Association. I'm commenting on the second passage vote on amending the ordinance relative to the Salem Common. This amended change, while well-intentioned, is vague and can be open to interpretation, as we can see by the Common Association's request for approval of a children's fair with 6 mechanical rides, which are a little bit bigger than previous years. It's somewhat vague. And I think most people are okay with a little kiddie fair as it's been run in prior years. But more importantly, what about next year and the following years? Will anyone who wants to run a children's fair be able to do so, to run it for the entire month of October with any number of rides? The way the ordinance is worded, this is a real possibility. And a child is anyone who's under 18, so the definition of a children's fair can be pretty broad. Before voting for second passage of this amendment, this language really, really needs to be tightened up to reflect your change's intent. to accommodate the Salem Common Association's yearly Fun Fest only, limited to 4 weekend days in October with limited hours of 11 to 5 or 10 to 6, and limited to kiddie rides. And it's not meant to accommodate any other open-ended carnival activity, whether by the SCNA or some other organization. This ordinance with prohibiting mechanical rides and amusements on the Common was put on the books for a very good reason, and any change to it needs to be well thought out and carefully crafted in order to protect the jewel that is the Salem Common. And by the way, I walked over here from this. I live in the Salem Common neighborhood, and there's a big, huge pile of trash right in the middle over by where the Fiesta is setting up their food courts. That hasn't been taken care of. I think someone called earlier today. It's still there as of 5:45. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Patricia Slam.
Thank you for having me. I'm also speaking on the Common and the Carnival on the Common. So I have some history to go with the ordinance. So that was about 33 years ago when my daughter was born, and the Common really was in bad shape. The state came in and funded a huge repair for the Common. It was massive. And they paid up this money, fixed a fence, and it was also the benches, the grass. They put an irrigation system in. They put up all of this money, and the agreement with the city of Salem, was that the city would protect their investment, that they would guard the Common, they would protect the fence, they would protect the irrigation system, they would not have mechanical rides on the Common. It was an agreement that the city made with the state, promising to protect the work that was done. Now, this was 33 years ago, so the Common has, gone through a lot of attacks where people want to put things on the Common that really would do damage. And it has to be stopped. It really has to be stopped. Who's going to come up with this money again to fix it? I don't know. So it really concerns me, and I walk on the Common every day. I'm not the only person walking. There's so many people, all ages walk. We have people who can't walk, sit on the benches. The children are at the playground. It is used by all of the people of Salem. They appreciate the beauty of the trees. There are squirrels that live there. We know all the squirrels. Really, it is just a place of quiet and beauty. It really is not supposed to be a place where you have carnivals and noise and rides and big trucks, and it is not that sort of place. This is a precious place we have in Salem. It's this and the Willows. We have to protect them. Everyone would like to put their things on it. We have to say no. Please say no. Thank you.
Next, we have Russell Slam.
I'm Russell Slam. I live at 9 Forester Street in Salem. And I'm opposed to what seems to be an upgrade in the rides on the Common. I went to the Fiesta website, and I was looking at the rides that they're thinking of putting on the Common, and they are not. I mean, they have a couple that are classified as kiddie rides, but they also have rides that are classified for the entire family. And when I look at these rides, they are pretty big. They're not small little things, when you have these little bubble things that the kids jump up and down on. Those are great. But like, for example, the Hot Shot. Is the Hot Shot new this year? No. You had the Hot Shot last year?
Sir, I'm sorry. We can't have
Oh, I'm sorry.
discourse
Okay,
like this. I'm
okay,
sorry.
so-
This is just public testimony.
It looked to me like the Hot Shot was really a good size ride. And the slide that the gentleman said was just the slide. It's true, it's not mechanical, but it's 110 feet long, which to me is pretty large. I don't want to see this thing metastasize into the Common becoming the host for the Carnival in the foreseeable future. The Common is not suitable for carnivals. It's a pasture. It's soft dirt. It's not like the Topsfield Fair where it's hard dirt. You don't see carnivals on the Boston Common. You don't see carnivals in the public garden. I can't even think of a public park that does host carnivals. So, if this goes through, okay, but it should not be a precedent, and it isn't something that's going to make the Common better. In the best of circumstances, we'll be able to repair whatever damage is done to it. But in the past, when we've had damage, like when those horses pulled over the fence, it took years to get that reconciled. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Hearings.
The request from Honeydew Donuts located at 138 Canal Street for extended hours of operation to continue to operate from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday.
Do we have anyone appearing in favor? No one from Honeydew is here? Did they know to come?
They're supposed to get notice.
Okay, they did get a notice. Okay. Anyone appearing opposed? Okay, Councilor Terrell?
Thank you, Madam President. I move this be held until the next meeting.
Councilor Terrell moves that this be held until the next meeting. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Rebecca English to the Historical Commission with a term to expire on March 1st, 2019.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be confirmed by roll call vote.
Councilor Peterson moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Yes, thank you. I had a chance to chat with Ms. English earlier this evening, and she's been a member of the North Shore Association of Realtors for more than 30 years, and she's lived in Salem almost that entire time. She was asked by them to sit on the Historical Commission, and she's been going to the meeting. She's really thrilled about being involved, and I was really excited to hear her say there doesn't have to be a disparity between preserving history and the housing needs that we have. So she's going to bring that perspective. So I'm really excited to appoint her.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the mayor's appointment of Rebecca English to the Historical Commission, we have 11 councilors voting. I'm sorry, we have 10 councilors voting, 1 absent, 10 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we suspend the rules in case Ms. English would like to address the council.
Seeing no objection, Ms. English, if you'd like, you can approach the podium.
I would just for a moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam President, council members, thank you very much for your appointment. I am thrilled to be joining this commission, and I appreciate very much your support. I have been involved with real estate for 30 some odd years. I've been a resident of Salem almost 30 years, and I am very excited to join this commission. So thank you very much for your support.
Thank you. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we go out of order to page 12.
Councilor Flynn moves that we go out of order to motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President.
Very welcome.
In the City Council, October 11, 2018, a resolution, whereas Roger Leger, a Ward 4 resident and local veteran, has been a part of the No Veterans Die Alone program, whereas Roger drives to the hospice unit at the Bedford Veterans Affairs Hospital to spend time with veterans in hospice care. He commits about 14 hours a week at the hospice unit visiting veterans, not all of whom are in their final days. One veteran who has been with hospice for 2 years due to cancer from being exposed to Agent Orange, a herbicide and defoliant chemical used by the military in warfare during the Vietnam War, appreciates and looks forward to Roger's visits with him. Roger has also been recognized by the Bedford VA for volunteering thousands of hours over many years. Whereas Roger became determined to give back to the veterans after almost dying due to liver complications. He understands their need to connect with someone who truly understands. As a veteran of the Air Force who served 2 years in Vietnam, he has been active for years with veterans groups in the city of Salem, including his position as commander of the Salem Veterans Council. Whereas he has taken his own life experiences and used them to help other veterans through their hard times. His dedication, sincerity, and kindness efforts are outstanding qualities. Not only does he volunteer his time to visit with the veterans, you can also see him around the city fundraising for the VFW, DAV, and the Salem Veterans Council in the months of May, July, and November. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Salem hereby extend to Roger Legere its sincere thanks for his humanitarian efforts to the veterans. Be it further resolved that the City Council make this resolution a matter of these proceedings, and that suitable copy along with the city seal be presented to Roger Legere as a token of respect and appreciation that he so well deserves. And I move for adoption.
Counselor Flynn moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam.
If you can say any more amazing things about this man.
Thank you, Madam President. I've heard of what, do you want Mr. Legere to come up here?
Do you want to speak and then we can suspend
Yeah,
the rules
sure.
to allow Mr. Legere? So,
Sure.
okay.
I've known about Mr. Legere and his services to the veterans of Salem for a long time. I've seen him at many different events, always supporting veterans, and I also was aware of him being involved with the Friends on the Council on Aging, working with Andy LaPointe. And I never knew since I got to know Mr. Legere, he's a very humble man, he never told me about what he does to work with the veterans that are in hospice care. And I'd really like everyone, if they get a chance, if they did not read the newspaper on April 10th, 2018, there's a very nice story about what Mr. Legere does and gives back to these veterans. I'd like to just read the first paragraph, just to sum it up. When Roger Legere walked into a room recently in the hospice unit at the Bedford Veterans Affairs Hospital, the patient he was visiting stared straight ahead, unable to speak. Legere picked up a book, The Life and Times of Don DiMaggio, from the newsstand and began reading aloud. 5 chapters in all. The patient slowly reached his right hand out from under the bedsheet, grabbed Legere's left hand, and squeezed it. Oh my God, the feeling. I can't explain it, Legere said as he recounted the story. He had heard every word. It's little things like that. I can tell you that in my life I have a short list of role models. People inspire me. My mother and father, who I love dearly. My Uncle Wayne Flynn, a veteran of Vietnam. And on this old council floor, growing up watching the council, Lenny O'Leary, Joe O'Keefe, people that gave back to this city, that really cared about making it better than when they got there. And on my list of role models, I'd like to include Mr. Legere. He absolutely makes me a better person, and anyone that knows him and can call him a friend, absolutely, he makes them better people too. Thank you on the bottom of my heart for all that you do in making these veterans have someone there at the very end. I can't think of anything more important than that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Counselor Fury, if you're going to be quick, I just want to... Sure. Okay, so Counselor Fury.
Madam President, fellow members, Roger is truly the epitome and the essence of a veteran and a living veteran. We're very lucky to have you a part of the greatest generation, represent veterans all your life, every single day. The late, great J. Michael Wayne, who sat in this very chamber, who became our state representative, always said, as you would remember, every day should be Veterans Day. And he is the essence of a veteran's veteran. Every day, when we look at Roger through his eyes, he is a veteran's veteran, the greatest generation. And I am so proud to be here tonight to recognize and respect your role and responsibility. There are angels among us. And we the angels. Indeed, you are the veteran's angel to the city of Salem. An angel's angel, a veteran's angel. And it's an honor just to be here, Mr. Legere, Roger. Thank you very much for being here in your service and your love to your country and to your state and your city, all year round, 24/7. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Mr. Legere, are you okay if standing if other people wanted, okay, great, I just wanted to check in with you. Counselor Dibble?
Thank you, Madam President. I have to stand and rise my good friend here, Roger, tonight, and echo the good words of the at-large counselor, and thank the Ward 4 counselor for bringing this matter forward. My heart goes out to the veterans, but my heart goes out to this man standing before us tonight. He deserves a recognition. He is Salem. This is the Salem that I know, the way that he gives back and cares about fellow veterans, the way that you care about Salem. You're an inspiration to all of us, as the Ward 4 council said earlier. Thank you for all you do. I had to rise because I respect what you've done. I've known you for 30, 31 years or so, and you're a gentleman, and when you say something, you go and do it. So thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Counselor Sargent?
Thank you, Madam President. Well, it's said that a young boy needs 10 good men in his life. Well, so does a veteran. And you've been one of those 10 good men for many, many veterans. And when they look back on their dying days as one of the 10 good men in their life, they'll be thinking of you. Now, it's also said that Salem's rich in history. But I give to you that our true wealth is our people and their willingness to pitch in and help each other out, especially during difficult times. And people like Roger help make our city rich. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Counselor Milo?
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Legier, I just want to say thank you. All I can say is, in this city, there are so many people who do so much good for everybody. You're certainly at the top of that list. And one of the things in my mind that puts you at the top of the list is your humility. Because anytime I've ever had a conversation with you, I've never heard the word I come out of your mouth. It's always been we, us, whatever. So tonight is about honoring you. And I'm appreciative to Councilor Flynn for bringing this in. I wish you and your family all the best, and take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Flynn's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Councilor Flynn, do you want to suspend the rules to allow Mr. Leger to...
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, could we suspend the rules for a minute for
Yes.
maybe a photo?
I see no objection.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Leger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. First, Madam President, member of the City Council, I appreciate this very much. I'd like to accept this award on behalf of all the veterans who volunteer at veterans hospitals, of people who are dying in hospice, even those civilians as well. No veteran, no person should ever die alone. Recently, this week, Bruce Solomon, one of our members of the VFW, which City Post, and was also a member of the Disabled American Veterans, the Polish League of American Veterans, Chapter 55, passed away. He was penniless. We went before the Salem Veterans Council, and we're paying for his funeral. They offered to send him out to a veterans cemetery way away from home. He lives in his home city. This was his city. No one's going to go out there and visit him. They will visit him here. So this is what we do as a Salem Veteran Council. We help all veterans and anybody that we can. I would like to give excuse me. I would like to give thanks to my wife, Marie, for putting up with me all the time. I get calls. I'm on call 7 days a week. Sometimes Saturday, Sunday, could be at night. It all depends. There's approximately 20 of us who volunteer at the Veterans Hospital and Hospice. And we all take turns. They send us an email when a veteran is on end of life. We look at the emails, the times that are available. We call in. I can cover this hour, this hour, this hour. And it's really an honor to be there for that veteran who put their lives on the line. Sorry. A lot of veterans spilled their blood, went through hell, never came home the same. War is hell. And I respect every single veteran, man and woman, who has served this country. And thank you, Councilor Flynn. I really appreciate that. I also would like to make a mention of Kim Emily. He's the greatest veteran agent that we have ever had. Oh, what a breath of fresh air, let me tell you. He has helped so many veterans. He should get an accolade for what he does. He is awesome. So without any further ado, I want to thank you, Madam President, members of Salem City Council. I appreciate this, and I will accept it in memory for all veterans or all people who serve at hospice to help people. No one should die alone. No one. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Gibb will move for a 2-minute recess.
Yes.
Seeing no objection, we're in recess. Fantastic. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for us to move to page 21, right?
Councilor Madore moves to go out of order to page 21, unfinished business.
We have the second passage of an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to the Salem Common.
Councilor Madore?
Thank you, Madam President. Should I?
I don't, do we need to read it again? We don't usually, we can just, you want to move for whatever you're going to move
Move for adoption for second and final passage.
for. Councilor Madore moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion?
Sure. Very briefly, this is the second passage of the amendment of the Salem Common Use Ordinance that we passed unanimously at the last meeting. Been hearing some feedback about concerns of the language in regards to the Children's Fair. We have representatives from the Salem Common Neighborhood Association here today, so happy to suspend the rules to let them clarify anything that would help inform our decision tonight. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. Just briefly, or as quick as I can, I brought in the ordinance to try and get the Children's Festival through, and at the time I didn't know, we didn't have benefit of time to send it to committee, and I didn't know the exact hours, days, times of the Children's Fair. Since I've researched and found out their hours, times, and all that, and their application, and what I'd like to try to consider here is to replace my exemption with another one that brings it right to the common. And I'll give it to everybody, they can read it, and I really don't want it to be a contentious thing, and I won't go on for a long time about it, but it cleans up the wording to exactly what we're trying to accomplish, because it goes exactly by the application that the Commons has this year and has had for the last 5 or 10 years. And we're trying to make an exemption to have the Salem Common Neighborhood Association event, so this limits it to that. And I'll pass it around after I read it, and it would be replaced with the exception, and it says, except that the Salem Common Neighborhood Association may operate a Kids Fun Fest with City Council approval with the following rules. Number 1, the Kids Fun Fest shall be allowed to operate during the last 2 weekends in October. 2, the Kids Fun Fest hours of operation shall be 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And number 3, the Kids Fun Fest shall be allowed to operate 5 mechanical kiddie rides for children. And I'm going to pass it around. I have.
Do you have copies for everyone?
Yes, I do.
Okay, great.
And I have a different version there that I have to get it, this one here.
Was
Okay.
there anything else you wanted to add, or should I open it up for others?
No, I just asked, people discuss it, have a friendly amendment, but it does exactly, I feel, what we were trying to do, because it's based on the Common Association application. Madam Secretary.
Oh.
3, please. Okay. The three will be amended to 5 on this, but it says three mechanical rides. So the 3, would you pass a few of them around there?
3, okay, so that's further amended.
Yeah, I have a copy with 5, but it's in the bottom somewhere. So just the last line, 3 mechanical rides would be amended to 5, and I'll give that to the city clerk. Should I be fortunate enough to have this pass? Is it? Did you get one? Domingo's not there? Thank you, Madam President. Okay. 3, 5. Madam City Clerk. I yield the floor.
Okay, you yield. Do we need to give a copy to Salem Common Neighborhood Association just so that they can see it? Do you guys need it? Or
Yep. I can
do you have an
that.
extra copy for them?
Might I be able, yeah, I can pass.
Yeah.
Again, the 3.
Yep.
Pass it over to them so they can have a copy.
Okay. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I read this quickly and listened. I would not support any change to what we are already putting through at this point, because the whole, at least to me, the whole idea of this initial ordinance as passed was to give us the ability to use our discretion in deciding whether or not a children's event would be held there. And this, should the Salem Common Neighborhood Association choose not to do this in the future, we could allow another organization run it, perhaps the Salem YMCA or something of the sort. But being allowed to have a children's event with city council approval in the month of October, I think, given the fact that any event still would also have to go through the petition process, as we're going to go through tonight after we deal with this, I think that's sufficient. I think the specific limits on what rides or how many or what the operating hours are best served in the petition process, because that's how we normally address these sort of things for closures, races, events, block parties, events on the common, and all the like. So I would not support making this change to it. I think the ordinance as it has been already passed for first passage is more than sufficient to provide protections to the common. I mean, as I had said before, I would have, in the previous meeting when we passed this, I would have passed the original one as is and left it up to the city council to make the decision for any event. But especially with the restrictions that we've put in place in the ordinance, I'm fine doing it as is, and I would not support the amendment, the further amendment to this.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, Councilor Milo, then Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I have to respectfully disagree with my colleague. My understanding of the last meeting and the way we reviewed the ordinance was that we were specifically trying to figure out how we could set it up so that the Common Neighborhood Association could in fact have their Family Fun Day, whatever you want to call it, there this year. Because again, as we talked about last time, we were talking about this thing at the end of September for an October event. I would in fact support this because I think right here and now it achieves the goal that we're trying to achieve. I think if we put something as permanent as an ordinance on the books, while it's just kind of passed in committee, on the floor without going to committee, I don't know that that's such a great idea. I think if we do this is almost kind of like an emergency type situation now. We can do this, we can pass this with the amendment so that the carnival can happen, and then hopefully somebody soon will bring in maybe another amendment to the same ordinance that we can then send to committee, that we can have discussion on. I'm happy to do this because it's all in writing. It's clear what the intent is, what the intent of the change is. It doesn't leave anything open, and it takes care of things for this year. We were talking about let's just get the carnival on Federal Street for this year, right? Well, let's just pass this ordinance as with the at-large councilor's amendment just for this year, and then we can go forward next year.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I have to agree with the at-large counselor's comments just now. I was very uncomfortable with the ordinance changes, the way it was rushed at the last minute. It wasn't clear exactly what could or could not happen on the common. And for the record, I think that it should be clear that we passed this with the intention of allowing the Salem Common Neighborhood Association to hold the Kitty Carnival or Family Fun Day, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. But what they've done in the past decade or so, 12 years I think, has been a good thing. And a lot of families wanted it in the common. The neighborhood seemed to welcome it. A lot of people did not want the bigger carnival. Some people did. Doesn't matter. That's in the past now, for this year anyway. But the Common Neighborhood Association asking to do the same thing that they've done in past years, I welcome that. I welcome that on the floor in the past. And the changes are allowing this to happen, but for the record, it should be clear so that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, if somebody looks back, like I like to do once in a while, it's clear why we passed this thing. And it was simply passed to allow the kiddie rides present over the past decade, and that the rides be similar in quantity and size and in age appropriateness for younger children, as was in the case of 2017. So basically what we were saying was what they've done over the last bunch of years, go forward again this year and do it again. And if you have to make a minor change, that's okay. With a specific young person's ride and replace it with a different young person's ride, that's okay. But to have older, well, basically what we were approving was for a kiddie carnival. And I think we let that happen, but the wording of the ordinance, I was uncomfortable with because it was so vague in the wording. So I just wanted the record to be clear so future councils can look back and see why we voted this way, for what purpose, because it wasn't clear at all. And I support the at-large councilor's amendment, his friendly amendment, which I think works. And as the at-large councilor across the way said, let's pass this for this year. And then I wholeheartedly recommend getting a clearer ordinance written over the next 6 months or so that we know well in advance of next year, and we don't have to have 6 meetings in a row talking about a carnival for Halloween. We'll set it up, we know what we're going to do well in advance for next year. So I recommend, and I'll be voting in support of the friendly amendment and of the ordinance changes here tonight. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
You need a second.
Councilor Fury?
Yes, please.
One second.
Councilor Giroux.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to ask a clarifying question, and if it's possible to suspend the rules, to ask the Salem Common Neighborhood Association representatives. So what we've been given here, this amendment, and so I just want to be clear that this typed up application that we have, the type of event, haunted happenings, name of business and organizer, that's the correct application that we should be looking at. And so if that is correct, then it looks like this amendment fits here. Can I
Could you
just?
speak at the podium too?
Oh, sure,
Have it-
here. Because I don't.
Please, thank you.
I like the way that this sounds, but I don't want to approve something that's not going to fit with what their application is. I just want to make sure of this.
Thank you.
Is it?
Any thoughts? Could you come up here, please? Thank you very much.
And so we're moving to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules to allow this to take place. Any opposition? Hearing no opposition, please. Could you give your name?
Yes, sir. Barbara Swartz, 47 Washington Square North.
Technical difficulties.
So this carnival application does accurately reflect what we're looking for. This was filled out by Fiesta Shows, and it's somewhat more of a formal application as opposed to our petition, which our petition was to add the mechanical rides. So they are in concert with each other.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
Please, thank you.
So the amendment fits with that application, which is the petition application that we're going to discuss after.
Oops.
That's what I just want to make sure of, that they're in concert with each other.
So, yes, it would work.
Okay.
It would not, by going with this, it would work. Whether, if it's the councilor's will that they want to have more sort of restriction on the ordinance amendment, it still works in the favor of us being able to hold the Kids Fun Fest. I don't see anything here that would preclude us having it. I hope I'm not missing something, but on first look, it looks fine.
Councilor Gerard,
I may just have the floor, because I don't really have a problem with this, just to get this done for now, and I certainly hope that this wouldn't be the last iteration of what we do. I just want to make sure that this will fit with what your application was, so that we're working together to get things done. We're a team. Okay, so this amendment will fit with the application. So, okay, and then hopefully, as I think the good at-large counselor mentioned, that at some point we will look at this again and then go forward, but this will get us through the next couple of weeks, and this will fit. Okay.
Yes, I think it will.
thank you.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll give you back your seat. Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Madam President. I think just when we're talking about the special event permit application versus the petition, I think the only difference is the event application is looking for an hour before operation and an hour after operation for setup and breakdown. So it appears maybe like that they're not in concert, but they really are, if that makes any sense, right?
Does that?
Can I?
Yes, Barb.
Yes, so I wrote the petition, and please excuse my typo, 6 should have been a 5. And yes, so the way I envision it is the hours of operation, the time when we will be selling tickets and having the kids is 11 to 5. But something like this, it takes a good hour to get it up, get it clean, you have to wipe out all the jumpy houses, you gotta get and then it takes about an hour to break it down and to clear the kids. So, can I promise you at 5 o'clock that the common will be clear? No, it's not gonna happen. It takes a while for the kids with their wristbands to get their last rides, or the last ticket sellers to get their last jump. So what EJ from Fiesta shows, EJ Dean was saying is, let's have a little cushion on either side. So though they don't appear to mesh, they are exactly the same thought. So if it's important to make the times mesh, if you wanted to say from 10 to 6, that's fine, but that's, depends on how tight you want to hold it.
Okay. Thank you. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. My concern about this amendment that the good at-large counselor has proposed is that we are using this to dictate specifically what type of event we're having in the future. And my sense is that we don't have, as a body, the political will to revisit this ordinance again and go through this entire discussion. So if we're saying we're allowing this for this year, we're essentially saying for this year and all the years subsequently, we are only allowing this very specific event. And just to echo the Ward 5 councilor's comments is that if the Common Neighborhood Association, maybe for 1 year, they decide not to do it, or for some unseeable reason in the future, and another organization steps in, then we would have to amend the ordinance if we do not revisit the language again next year. So this entire discussion would come back again. And I think we're being too prescriptive here for a short-term solution, whereas the original language gives us the flexibility to review the application on a case-by-case basis. We can use our common sense to say this is not a children's fair, where there's too many rides, or it's operating for too long. We can deny that application on the basis of that. But to say that this is the only very specific, down to the time and date and organization and name of the event that's allowed to happen, I'm just worried that we're setting a precedent that we could give favor to other organizations through ordinance in other parts of our city ordinance. So I think it's too restrictive, and I'm not very comfortable with how restrictive it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I mean, that's pretty much where I'm coming from on this as well. I get what the objective is here, and I support what the objective is. That's fine. But in getting so so prescriptive in the ordinance itself where you're confining it to a specific organization if we do pass it as it was originally advertised, then this city council has the right and the ability every year to look at the petition that comes before us and make our judgment, or impose restrictions of hours, or impose restriction of dates. So if the SCNA turns out to come to us next year and say, we want to run it for 3 weekends, we have the ability next year to say, no, we want 2 weekends. It's going to be the same group of people here next year at this time, by the way. So, we have the ability, because it's pre the next election, but we have the ability to do that, and we have the ability to use our discretion as a city council. I don't think that, in general, the city council is not the Supreme Court. We're not bound by our decisions in the past, and even the Supreme Court isn't always bound by their decisions in the past. So we can look at decisions that we've made as a body 50 years ago, and we can revisit those. We can reopen those. Times can change, circumstances can change, and what's needed in the city can change. It may not, but the more allowance we give ourselves as a body in the ordinance, the easier it is for us to use that discretion. The other thing that I'll bring up is that I think there might be a legal flaw to this in a sense, because we've advertised this for first passage, and I'm not sure that the change made by this proposed amendment isn't so substantive as to require that we basically start over with advertising. I'm not sure that that would be the case, so.
I think the city clerk could answer that.
That's a bit of a concern there, that it's such a change from a particular, from the language may be held during the month of October with the approval of City Council to specifically that the Salem Common Neighbor Association may operate this event with these hours, with these rides, and so forth. So, and if we have to start all over, then we missed our window. So, again, if the City Council would like to revisit this in the next year and come up with more prescriptive language, ultimately, I think I'm perfectly comfortable with us doing that. But I think at this point, passing what we've already passed doesn't open any window of opportunity for anybody else. It does no harm to pass what we've already passed here. And if we want to revisit this in the next year to make it more restrictive, that's up to the will of this body. But for now, I think what we've put here, combined with the petition process that's before us, I think is more than sufficient to make sure that we have these protections.
Thank you. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm thinking about this. I'm hung up on a couple of things. One is we heard tonight from at least one testimony, and also just from people that we've heard from before, is that the way that the Salem Common Neighborhood Association in particular is organized is, it sounds like, has dues-paying members. I've heard people say, I'm a dues-paying member. So, and I've also heard other people say they're not. So this is not necessarily an association that everybody belongs to that lives around in the area. And so it might be another group that comes forward who wants to propose something for next year. And so I think in that sense, naming the specific association here is too prescriptive for my comfort level. And then I liked what we had before where it just says October, because I think, I mean, I don't think any of us would let it get out of control, but I think picking the specific weekends, just depending on where they fall and, based on maybe other events that are going on, I think leaving it open to a group to request that can give us the flexibility to approve that. So,
thank you. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. We give permits for block parties all the time to neighborhood associations. Some collect dues, some don't, and we allow them the use of a city street specifically for that block party, for that neighborhood group. This is a neighborhood association, no different than if Palmer Cove wanted to run something in Palmer Cove, we'd let the Palmer Cove Association do it. So we've been asked to make an exception to a city ordinance that was put in place after federal money came in to restore that common. And the ordinance was put in place to make sure the common stayed restored and didn't get destroyed. So we're being asked to make a specific exemption to that ordinance. That's why I moved to make this more specific. The original exemption was for the month of October. Everything in what I have before you today is during the month of October. And it's based on 10 years of history of these are the days and times that the Common Association has run this event. So I think that's pretty good history on how the event has been run. And I assume that they're going to keep running it as time goes on. But if the Common Association, which has been around since I've been a child, ever dissolves, I think that'll be a very rare moment. So I think we're pretty safe going forward to get this event, to get the exemption we've been asked to give by many people, and this accomplishes that. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Fury.
Yes, please, Madam President. Common means to all the people, not necessarily one group. One group. We had one speaker come up saying here previously that he wanted the carnival there. He walks to the carnival. He may not belong to the association. So the common belongs to the whole city of Salem, not to one association. And in my past experience, sitting in Council Leary's seat, Council O'Keefe's seat, they always supported a ward councillor in his or her request. And I sincerely concur with our councillor, your ward councillor, in the ward common and Ward 2 association. I support her because I think she has the will and the mandate of the ward, the whole ward that she represents. And I concur with your recommendation tonight to go along with what we just did. So I thank you very much for being the Ward 2 councillor. I was never a ward councillor. It's very difficult being a ward councillor. I've been a councillor at large for 22 years. It's very demanding. She has to listen to a lot of, he or she has to listen to a lot of voices. But I'm listening now to the voice of Councillor Joe O'Keefe, a ward councillor, Councillor Lenny O'Leary, your godfather, right? The past is the tradition and the history of this city council, so I concur in supporting with Councillor Medora. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Milo.
Thank you. Madam President, can we just confirm with the city clerk whether or not we would have to re-advertise this and what the schedule of re-advertising would be if we go with the amendment?
Okay, and then does anybody else need Barb, or can we let her sit? I think we can let you sit. If you want to sit.
I'll come back if you need me.
Okay, thank you. So, Madam City Clerk, what are the advertising rules around this?
So if this is for second and final passage and you amend what was originally advertised, I will have to advertise it again. It can be placed, I can put the ad in tomorrow for like next Wednesday, but once you adopt this, and it doesn't have to be, this is for the council, it becomes ordinance. Because it's not like it has to go up to the mayor for signature or anything, because this is for council. So it could become effective, but it does have to be re-advertised. And it can be re-advertised on Wednesday. But that doesn't limit you to waiting for it to be effective Wednesday.
I'm sorry, say that last part?
But it doesn't mean that you have to wait till Wednesday for it to be effective.
Okay, so as soon as we pass it
But I will
tonight,
have to,
however
if we
pass
amend it, it has to be re-advertised.
Okay.
Because people will have to know what the amendment is from the first advertisement.
You still have the floor, Councillor Milo, and then Councillor McCarthy.
So so I can clarify this, so we could pass this as amended, you advertise it, but it has no impact whatsoever on the operation of the carnival, the dates or anything. Is that what you're telling us?
Correct.
Okay.
If you adopt the petition that's in front of you, I mean.
Well,
this is
yeah,
just
assuming
changing the
step two
ordinance,
is, right. But having the ordinance amended just requires you to advertise it, but it's not going to change
It's not going
the
on.
date of the
the vote.
carnival or permission for the carnival or anything like that. Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Councillor McCarthy. Councillor McCarthy?
Well, Council Sergeant was talking, so I wasn't sure if he had the floor.
No, I called on you.
Okay. Thank you. Let's make this simple. We have an ordinance, we spent 45 minutes to an hour at the last meeting to come up with this language. Pass it. Someone take a piece of paper, write an order down that's non-debatable tonight, and then refer the thing to committee. It seems like everyone wants to talk about this and no one can confer on the language. This kiddie carnival, or whatever it's going to be called, is going to happen in the prescribed time due from the application in the next 2 weekends. And then it's over. Then October's over. The ordinance as written, it says for October. So there's no more wiggle room. It's not like there's no more time for anything to happen.
So I would suggest then the Ward 2 council bring in an order to review the common use policy. Then we don't have to sit here and keep debating this on the council floor where it should be debated in committee. That's where this should happen. It shouldn't happen here on the floor. Because unfortunately, when it happens here on the floor, the public, we have to waive the rules and allow them to come and speak. And no one knows that we're having this debate tonight, so no one's here to speak. So pass it the way it is. It's in front of us. We don't have to pay any extra money to advertise it. It's going to happen. We all agree it's going to happen. We all agreed to the scope and the size and everything. We spent 45 minutes to an hour of the last meeting making sure that was going to happen. It's going to happen. It's not going to change. There's only 2 more weekends in October before the big day on Wednesday. God help us all. And then we can have then once October settles, we can have an honest conversation, whether it's in November, December, January, whatever. So we're not back to this same position next year in the month of September and October having this discussion. But I think that should come from somebody to my left and make sure that we get this done. That's not, but it's already in front of us. We've already paid to advertise it. There's no second guessing. There's no more wiggle room in this. There's no hidden agenda. There's no specter of whatever. Simply bring in an order to relook at the whole use policy, or be specific to the kiddie carnival, hours of operation, specific days, whatever it is. None of this came up in the last meeting where we spent all that time making sure that we get the language to make sure that we weren't. Was the language perfect as stated? No. But did it work? Did it get to the goal that everyone seemed to get? Yes. And if we want to tighten that language up, then bring in an order to tighten it up. Why are we, once again, trying to do it on the floor? And then everyone looks at us like we're trying to figure it out on the fly. People criticize us for doing that. Let's pass what we got, bring it out, and then have the honest debate. Because we're going to sit here all night batting it around again, and then we're going to be back to square one. That's my opinion. And I'll be supporting the Ward 2 council tonight.
Thank you. Okay, so I don't think we got a second on the amendment. Seconded by Councilor Milo. Okay, so how do we want to do this? Do we want to do roll call vote for, what?
Vote on the amendment?
So vote on the amendment, do we want a hand vote or a roll call vote?
A roll call vote, please.
Roll call vote? Okay, yes, Councilor Milo?
I'm sorry, I know I have a lot to say tonight about this, but...
This is your third time.
I'm sorry?
This is your third time.
Thank you for counting. Have I accrued all the time? I didn't stand up in the previous meetings. I can get a couple extra this meeting. So let me just say that I have to agree with the Ward 1 councilor. I don't particularly care to develop ordinances on the floor. We were forced to do that last time, and we're forced to do it again this time. It's October. We want this carnival to run. I believe that if we make this more restrictive, it's going to force our hand to come in January and take another look at it, because everybody's going to go, it's too restrictive. We have to look at something, as opposed to it's very open, and come January, everybody kind of forgets about it, and then come September, we've got 6 applications for 5 different times and whatever. I'm okay with restrictive this time around. So I'm going to be supporting the at-large council's amendment.
Thank you. Okay, so do we want, for the amendment, do we want roll call or do we want hand? Councilor?
Roll call. That's for roll call.
Roll call, so 3 hands for roll call?
Sure.
Okay, so Madam City Clerk, are you ready? Okay, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
You want to specify what we're voting on?
Oh, yes, so what we're voting on, thank you. Thank you. So we're going to do a roll call vote on Councilor Sargent's amendment that was seconded by Councilor Milo. Okay, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
No.
Councilor Madore?
No.
Councilor McCarthy?
No.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
No.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Torrio?
Nope.
Councilor Gerard?
No. Thank you. On the matter of the ordinance amending second and final passage with new language submitted by Councilor Sargent, we have 10 councilors voting, 4 in the affirmative, 6 in the negative, 1 absent. The matter does not carry. Okay, now on adoption for second and final passage, do we want to do a hand vote or do we want to do roll call as well? Roll call? Do we have 3 hands for roll call? Sure. Okay, we have 3 hands for roll call. So, Madam City Clerk, are you ready?
Hold on. Counselor Dibble.
Yes.
Counselor Dominguez. Oh, sorry. Counselor Flynn.
No.
Counselor Fury.
Yes.
Counselor Madore.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Milo.
Yes.
Counselor Peterson.
Yes.
Counselor Sargent.
Yes.
Counselor Torrio.
Yes.
And Counselor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the ordinance, but this isn't the amendment, so this is the, oh, okay, so I see what you did, okay. The ordinance amending the original order of the Salem use policy of the common as presented. We have 10 counselors voting, we have 9 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, and 1 absent. The matter carries. Counselor Turiel.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for immediate reconsideration. The hopes will not prevail.
Counselor Turiel moves for immediate reconsideration. The hopes does not prevail. All those in favor? All those opposed? Opposed. Matter does not carry. Counselor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for us to page 17?
17.
Under
The second
petition,
item.
Second item, yes.
What page?
17.
17. Petitions.
Request from the Salem Common Neighborhood Association to hold a children's fair on the Salem Common on October 20th and 21st and October 27th and 28th, 2018, from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and for the use of 6 mechanical rides.
Councilor Madore.
5.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for this to be granted.
Councilor Madore moves that this be granted. Any discussion?
Yes, quick amendment on the number of rides to reflect the Fiesta application.
5.
Right? Okay. Which is for us.
How many rides? 5.
This is what we just talked about. I think I have, yeah, I have it. Yeah, this one.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I said I move for this to be
Okay,
granted.
move this to be granted. Okay. Councilor Turiel, I don't know, he left the room, but, so any further discussion? Councilor Milo?
Sorry, I apologize, Madam President. I didn't hear the whole thing to reflect the Fiesta's application. Does that mean 5 rides and not 6? Is that what we're talking about?
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Councilor Turiel return.
All the more reason for a PA system. Thank you.
Thank you.
6 to 5, right?
Okay, so,
Do you want to do the...
any further discussion? Oh, Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. Sorry. So also the second amendment is to change the hours from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So to recap, amend the hours, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then the number of rides, the number of mechanical rides from 6 to 5.
Okay, so you move this granted as amended.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councilor Dibble. Okay.
Could I just speak quickly on that?
Councilor Sargent.
And I agree. It's just, I don't know if we should put language to reflect that the extra hours if it's set up and for winding down, so that we don't end up having a 9 o'clock setup, and then, a 6 to 7 winding down. So if we could put language in for that.
I'll put 11 to 5 for operation.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay, so we are voting on then the motion to be granted is the request from the Salem Common neighborhood to hold a children's fair on the Salem Common on October 20th, 21st, and also on the 27th, 28th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.? No, or 11 to 5?
With hours of operation from 11 to 5.
Hours of operation from 11 to 5 and the use of 5 mechanical rides?
Yes.
Yes, okay. On the matter that this be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? 1 opposed, matter carries. Okay, now I need to go back. Someone want a motion?
Move to return.
Page 5.
No, we're not adjourning.
Oh, yeah, move to adjourn. No, I said move to return. I didn't say move to return, but
It sounded like adjourning.
I can try and slip it in, but no.
Page 5.
Okay, so to page 5, communications from the mayor.
Wish.
We have an order that the sum of $71,173.54 be approved within the Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback Account to be expended for the 2019 contractual buyback for a school department employee.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrell moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Councilor Terrell moves for adoption under discussion.
Thank you briefly, Madam President. This is for Paul LaRue, who was our Director of Facilities for Salem Schools for a very long career, and he's a neighbor of mine, lives just a block away, and I'm sure he's enjoying puttering around the lawn right now. So best wishes to Paul in his retirement.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Fury.
Yes, please, Madam President. I served on the school committee when he was chosen. Mr. LaRue has had a signature statement to every single school building and all major projects in the city of Salem to make excellent quality facilities for our children to go to school. And Paul LaRue is the human face of it all. He's there morning, noon, and night, 365 days. I've been on top of roofs, in cellars, buildings, in additions, as some of us have been over the years. And his signature statements are everywhere in the school system. We're going to truly miss him. And I wish, if we could, send him a city seal for his love and service to the school system. Can you send him a city seal, please?
Yes.
Thank you very
Love
much.
that. Madam City Clerk, you'll send him a city seal. Thank you. Okay, so on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $13,000 is hereby appropriated from the receipts reserved funds of sale of lots and sale of vaults to the Department of Public Services burial account.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrell moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Councilor Terrell moves for adoption under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Just this is a routine matter from taking money that we're for selling cemetery lots and actually using them for their purpose.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order to accept the donations listed below totaling $2,800. These funds will be deposited into the account listed below the recreation donation account on the recommendation of Her Honor the Mayor.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Councilor Terrell moves for adoption under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a very generous donation from Heidi Casista and Tammy Mace for a total of $2,800 to buy picnic benches for, I should check which location it was. I thought they were for the Willows, but...
Didn't specify.
No, it doesn't specify. Sorry, I didn't know the location. So, but some picnic tables for Parks and Rec to use, and we really appreciate it when people step in and make those kind of donations to help us out. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the City of Salem metered parking spaces at Riley Plaza, East and West, shall be increased to a flat rate of $20 for 12 hours on the remaining Saturdays and Sundays during the month of October and for October 31st. And parking spaces on Fort Avenue, Canal Street, and Martin Street shall be increased to a flat fee of $10 for 12 hours on the same remaining Saturdays and Sundays.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption, but I'm going to also propose a amendment to this. So.
Okay. Councilor Terrell moves for adoption with assumed to discuss an
discussion. So this is something that I think many of you spoke about with the mayor earlier in the week. Something we're experiencing now this year, and we're seeing more of, especially now that Jefferson and Canal have been paved, is people are coming in and essentially gaming the system. They come in, they see that they can't find a space in the garage, but look, here's these great outlying streets that are nice and wide and bright, and we can put our cars here, and look, there's no charge to park, so we can just stash our cars here all day and go into town. So we're seeing a lot more of that this year, and especially as we go into the later weeks where we're running the shuttle buses, we'd rather discourage that behavior. We want people to park on the outskirts and use shuttles, use the garages when they're available, and ideally come by train if possible. So this is an effort to try and take that loophole that we've created. All this parking would remain free for Salem residents. The meter enforcement personnel will be going down and they'll be checking license plates using the technology they have. And if the same way we make certain lots free to Salem residents, like the Crescent lot and the Church Street lot, the same way it's free for Salem residents, it will be free when the readers check the cars. Although at Riley Plaza, where we're talking about the parking meter spaces, residents would still have to use their meters. We'd still have to put quarters in the meter or use the app or whatever. This would be enforced by using the parking app only. And the one amendment I'd like to make to this is on Canal Street to have this go from Mill Street to Gardner Street rather than to Roslyn Street. It's a difference of 2 blocks. And the reasoning behind this is Canal Street just wrapped up their paving in the last couple of weeks. And we have one business on Canal Street that relies on walk-in traffic, which is the distillery there, Deacon Giles. They opened up just as Canal Street construction was getting started. And so they've been dealing with construction for the last 2 years. It finally ended and they were looking forward to having people park and walk by there on the way into town and then hopefully go in to buy something. And so putting in the parking right now this year is kind of a bit of a poke in the eye at that point. So I would propose that we amend this to have it end at Gardner Street this time. I figure if you're willing to walk that much farther to go into town, you kind of deserve the free space at that point.
Second.
But, thank you. Well, for my amendment. So second my proposed amendment to it. But so this is an experiment this year, which is why it's being done as an order. We would see how it works and then move forward in next year, perhaps make this permanent, perhaps make other changes to it, or include or remove certain areas. But I think this is a good thing for us to try. It will retain some of the streets. I think we'll have more spaces on these streets for Salem residents to use as a result, because there's people who are going to just go to outlying areas because of it. So I don't know if this is going to work well, but I think it's worth trying.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Sargent and Councillor Madore.
Wait a minute, but just clarification. I mean, are we talking about metered spaces on these streets or on non-metered spaces?
Councillor
No. I'll clarify. For instance, the Riley Plaza spaces in question are the metered spaces. So if a person from out of town parks at that, rather than feeding the meter, they could pay $20 through the app in order to park there. Which they'd be, so instead of being able to park for a little while, they could pay $20 to use that space. Otherwise, it just remains a regular 4-hour metered space or whatever term. Residents would just be using the meter as normal. So if a resident parks at that location, they just use the meter. It's only for out-of-town users. All these changes and rates only apply to out-of-town users. They won't be putting in parking meters. Anybody who wants to do this parking will be required to use the Passport app that you can use for any on-street and lot parking.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, so if you're all the way down Jefferson Avenue on these places on Margin Street, you have to go find an app to be able to park on the street that's not metered. That seems difficult, and we just passed leaving the west side of Margin Street to be overflow parking for the Gesner Italian neighborhood. And keep in mind, they're not, even though we passed guest passes, if people go and get them, they've made some difficult rules added on to that. So the whole neighborhood really has no guest parking. Margin Street is the only place they can go to within walking distance for the neighborhood. And it's just very difficult to take a street that's normally free parking, and I mean, you can go to Boston at times, near Fenway Park, and find a few places that are not metered that you sneak in and they're free. It's difficult for me to support charging people to park through an app to park on the side of the street. I just see that as a lot of people getting ticketed in a confusing situation there. So, thank you.
Thank you. And hang on a second, Councillor Ferriero, because Councillor Madore did have her hand raised, so I just want to call on her first. Okay.
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to answer the at-large councillor's question. So as far as that goes, first off, this would only be placed, and this wasn't clear in the order, but this only is during regular enforcement hours. So It would be only until 6 PM on days, on any particular day. All enforcement of parking ends at 6 o'clock on the streets, so regardless of the day. So this would be, if people are coming to visit, say, somebody on Margin Street in the evening, they can still come in and park, and there's no cost to them if they're coming in from out of town. That applies, of course, on Canal Street and any of these other areas. When enforcement stops, these spaces become available. As far as doing this through an app, the city is planning to have signage stating exactly where to go to get it and what the name of the app is. So it's a process for most people where if they want to do this, they park, they spend 30 seconds downloading the app and, connect it to set up an account, because it can happen in about a minute, and then just put money in the virtual meter. So, again, this is not a permanent order for, forever. This is an experiment in seeing if we can take the out-of-town parkers and drive them out to the the lots on the outskirts, and keep them off these streets, mainly so that during the day, and hopefully in the evening too, that they can be used by residents, because we're trying to, the goal here is to make more parking available for people who live here. That's ultimately what we're trying to accomplish with this.
Thank you. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I will support this, but I'm very uncomfortable with proposing an experiment on our parking system in the middle of October, because I myself just proposed a really long list of parking amendments to help ease the congestion downtown, with a lot of thoughtful discussion in committee and on the floor, but I just don't like the idea of throwing more experiments when I personally do not see the impact of whether this experiment would really detract cars from coming into downtown. It feels very revenue driven, and that's my first concern. And secondly, restricting payment by passport parking app only, I think that will really confuse people, even with the signs. And I learned the hard lessons about signs this month, about orange signs and green signs and no signs and sticker signs. So I think we already have so much sign clutter, and to throw another type of sign, it will confuse not just the residents, but I worry that visitors will come and park the same way they've done before to abuse the system and be happy to pay the ticket because they couldn't figure out the app. So I'm not sure whether this will be accomplishing its intent, but listening to my colleague here, if he thinks it's a good experiment to have, we can have the experiment, but I just don't like how late this is brought before us, and with no real discussion from the neighbors or our parking traffic director. So I yield.
Councilor Fury.
Yes, please. Councilor Corral, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm really confused by this because I use the Passport app, so I never carry change with me. So does this mean that when I open up the Passport app that then I'm going to be charged $20 if I want to park at Riley Plaza because I'm using the Passport app? Like it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, we've been encouraging the Passport app since we started it, I want to say 3 years ago. And I love it. I never carry change. I never have to panic about it. I never have to go beg a store to change $1. So I don't, it doesn't make any sense to me, and it kind of hurts my brain to think that we're going to punish people for using the Passport app. So I don't want to do that. So I can't support something that's going to punish people for using something that's trying to make the system easier.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Terrio. And Councilor.
Thank you, Madam President. I can answer that. They know, the Passport app knows your license plate.
No.
It's supposed to have your plate in the account.
For some lots.
Well,
it
in
does.
general, like your plate is supposed to be connected to the Passport app. So as a result, it knows your plate number. So if you're in a place that's under those restrictions, it knows you're an in-city. Our system is between the Passport app and the kiosks. Our systems are capable of knowing whether you're a Salem resident or not. So if you're a Salem resident and you park in one of these, with the exception of the meter space in Riley Plaza where it's your plate number matters, you don't simply, if you parked in one of these spaces, at that point, you don't have to care whether you have the app or not. You just park, you leave your car. When they come by and they check license plates, your car comes up as Salem from the excise tax database and their connections there, and however they work the technological magic to make that programming happen, because that's out of my specialty. At that point, your car registers as a Salem car. You are parked there for free. If you're using the handful of meter spaces at Riley Plaza, you would use them as you normally use them. So that's the design for this to work.
Thank you. Councilor Milo?
Thank you, Madam President. It's middle of October, and here we're talking about changes in the middle of October. We've got a meeting next week. I mean, I think, and it seems like there are people who have questions, and everybody's not necessarily comfortable with passing this tonight. My suggestion would be that we table it and get our questions answered over the week, and then bring it back in next week. We've still got half of October left to experiment, and it's a compromise.
Okay, well, now that Councilor Milo moved to table, then that stops all debate. So we have to take the vote on to table this or not. So on Councilor Milo's motion to table, all those in favor? Let me see, so myself, I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, not to table. So I guess this passes to table. Motion is tabled. Okay. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an ordinance to amend zoning ordinance by adding a municipal and religious adaptive reuse overlay district to facilitate the appropriate reuse of eligible buildings and thereby protect and advance the general public welfare.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to refer to a planning board to hold a joint public hearing.
Councilor McCarthy moves to refer this to the planning board to hold a joint public hearing. No discussion?
No discussion.
No discussion. On Councilor McCarthy's motion to hold a joint public hearing with the planning board, all those in favor? All those opposed? And I will schedule that ASAP. Where are we? Okay, are we done? I think that's it for, yep. Okay, so mayor's informational page, none. Okay, so now we're on page 13, motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Flynn.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to withdraw this motion.
Councilor Flynn is withdrawing his motion. Any discussion?
Yes, I was under the assumption that Ward 4 used to do this in the past, but apparently that tradition is over. It hasn't been done in a while, so I would like to take that off the table and withdraw it. Thank you.
Okay. I don't think we have to vote on the withdrawal, no. So further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. Ordered City of Salem, City Council, October 11, 2018, ordered that a Salem youth organization are hereby authorized to staff the parking lot at 297 Bridge Street and collect parking fee of $20 per vehicle on Halloween night, October 31st, 2018, beginning 6 p.m., and that the organization interested in staffing the lot is to schedule this date through the City of Salem's Traffic and Parking Department. And I move for this to be granted.
Councilor Madore moves that this be granted. Under discussion?
Yes, so this is just a follow-up to an earlier order where we're allowing youth organizations, Salem youth organizations, to collect parking fees at the former Universal Steel lot during weekends, but we decided to add October 31st as well.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, and Councilor Peterson left the room for the moment, on Councilor Madore's motion that this be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. The City of Salem, in the year 2018, an ordinance amended an ordinance relative to traffic, section, Chapter 42, Section 51. Parking prohibited on certain street, be it ordered by the City Council of Salem, the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 51, parking prohibited on a certain street is hereby amended by repealing the following: Cousin Street, parking prohibited easterly side. This ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter. I move for adoption.
For first passage?
First passage.
Under discussion.
Under discussion. Basically, it came to light that a individual challenged a parking ticket, and lo and behold, the individual was correct because they were the ticket they were issued was in violation of resident sticker parking. Well, as it turns out, that the side of the street that we're talking about had the good city clerk in her office look into it. It goes back so far, the ordinance didn't even have a date to it. So it was before we started recording dates when traffic ordinance was passed, and so Cousin Street is supposed to be no parking on that side of the street since, I don't know when. But those signs in my almost 12 years, and even from talking to people before that, so somewhere around the last 15 to 20 years, there has been no signs restricting parking. Everyone's always parked there, and lo and behold, when the traffic, once the ticket was rescinded, the traffic department issued to put the signs back up, and you can imagine the furor that came up in that, because they went up at like, I don't know, maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, needless to say, by 3 o'clock the next afternoon, they were down, and that's why we're bringing in this order, so that we can repeal that, because that's the way it's been, but also sometime in the near future, we're going to have to come in and take a look at that, because right now that side of the street is now unrestricted either way, and the other side of the street is restricted residential parking. If that's the intent, is to keep it that way, I'm not sure. We're going to have a meeting to make sure that's the way everybody wants it. But for right now, just so no more tickets are issued with regards to a violation, we're going to repeal this. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion on Councilor McCarthy's motion to adopt for first passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Committee reports. I feel like this is the earliest we've been in committee reports in a long time.
Don't jinx it.
Jinx it. Amen.
Councilor McCarthy.
Just jinx the whole thing. It's Halloween, you know. It's October. City of Salem, City Council, October 11, 2018. The Committee on Ordinance, License, Legal Affairs, and moves further the matter of granting certain licenses has considered said matter. Recommend approval. Tag days 1, 2, 3, 4 different ones.
Wait reading.
5.
Waive reading. I counted them quick, sorry.
5.
I can speed read, I can't speed count.
You do speed read. Acceptance of the report. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Councilor McCarthy's motion to adopt the recommendation. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Actually, I see Lisa Kelly here from Wicked for Frosty 4. Can we go out of order?
Sure.
Sorry, Lisa.
17.
To page 17, to the bottom of page 17. So sorry. You're kind of out of my line of sight, so I apologize. Okay, petitions.
A request from the Wicked Running Club to hold a road race, Wicked Frosty 4, in the use of city streets on January 1st, 2019.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be granted.
Council McCarthy moves that this be granted. Under discussion.
Briefly, can I just ask one question?
Yes. And
How many
suspend the
years?
rules. 12.
Thank you.
Yep.
12 years.
12 years.
Okay. Just curious, just to put it in a time frame reference for myself.
Yep.
12 years. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Seeing no further discussion on Council McCarthy's motion that this be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Free to go.
Move to return.
Move to return to the regularly scheduled. Okay. So, communications from city officials.
We have the planning board recommendation relative to zoning ordinance amending short-term rental, section 3.0, table of principal and accessory uses, and section 10.0 definitions. And report as follows.
Give the reading.
Waiving the reading. Council McCarthy.
Sure you don't want me to read it? I move
Said we were moving quickly.
I know, we are. I move that this be received and filed.
Council McCarthy moves that this be received and filed. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption of the proposed zoning ordinance amendment for first passage by roll call vote. Under one stipulation, I'm going to, because I'm reading this, I'm going to yield to my colleague from across the aisle. There's one change that was brought up during public testimony, it seems like yesterday, that there was one change that was made to the table relative to grandfathering in the R1 zone. So I'm going to yield the floor to my colleague from across the aisle.
Okay. Councilor Terry.
Thank you, Madam President. My motion is to take the section 3.0 table in principal and accessory uses, where the planning board took the R1 table, took the R1 entry in the table and inserted Board of Appeals. I would move to take that back out and insert the N.
Second.
Okay, so Councilor Terrio moves to amend the table under R1, instead of saying Board of Appeals and saying an N, so not allowed, and Council McCarthy seconds. Any further discussion?
Just briefly, sorry, thank you, Madam President, just to briefly, to explain this, mostly for the benefit of people listening. The planning board had a spirited discussion on this and ultimately decided that they thought it was an equity issue in taking that ability away from an R1. What we feel, I believe we feel on the City Council is that the R1 zone already restricts inns, boarding houses, and the like, and restricting short-term rentals is perfectly reasonable. So this would be to ban, to restrict non-owner occupied short-term rentals in the R1 zone. So we had it originally out in the proposal. The planning board put it back in. Should we adopt my amendment, then we will be taking it back out again.
Thank you. Okay, Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I have to agree with the Ward 5 councilor and the Ward 1 councilor on this one. I'm not sure where this came from, Madam President, because during the public testimony, we heard from two residents who spoke about the R1 issue, but the discussion with the planning board didn't happen in this meeting with us. So, yeah, I'd like to see it be listed as a no for the R1. But there are three matters that the planning board put forward to us. I think we're all in agreement that the Board of Appeal approval in NRCC, as you stated at the last meeting, that you're in favor of that as well. So I'm okay with that first change, the second change being the R1. But the third change that they're asking for is the definition swap, which is simply get rid of the short-term rental independent definition and stick that same definition underneath the non-owner occupied short-term rental. For this one, I'd rather defer to our expert, the Assistant City Solicitor, who's written this, and keep the definition in place, because that definition just doesn't talk about the non-owner occupied section. It talks about all four sections. So it's a standalone definition that I think is needed. So I'd move to amend the planning board's third change from the definition, just leave it as it was written by our Assistant City Solicitor. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, so Councilor Dibble, if I can just clarify, so you want to put back in just that short-term rental definition?
Yep, just leave it the way it was written.
Okay, just leave it the way, okay, great. And then I just need a second on that amendment. Seconded by Councilor Flynn. Okay. Any further discussion? Councilor McCarthy.
Briefly, I don't totally disagree with my colleague to my left, but as the exact language is just, all they did was clean it up and put the short-term rental definition in the non-owner occupied short-term rental, so it wasn't redundant. So if you read it, you can see the italicized, it says chapter 15, short-term remains, filled it, and then it goes, a short-term rental is the use, just the same thing. And so it takes the definition and moves it into that section without having a definition sitting by itself. That's the only reason I think they did it, was to be more consistent. I don't have an issue either way with it, to be 100% honest with you, but it doesn't really, the definition is, the wording is exactly the same. They just moved it up into the non-owner occupied, so the definition isn't sitting by itself. It makes more, in my opinion, and then I'm not a lawyer, it makes more sense the way that they amended it to stick it in there. They didn't make a substantive change. All they did is moved it around. So I think it's fine the way it is, in my opinion. But I'll leave it to the will. Just as long as the N goes back on the table for R1, it's fine with me.
Thank you, Madam President. The reason why I'm recommending that it be not moved up into a subsection of another section when it was a standalone, it talked about the whole ordinance, all 4 types of short-term rentals. Now, when it's taken out of the general ordinance and it's stuck into one category, that definition only speaks to non-owner occupied short-term rentals. The way the Assistant City Solicitor wrote it, by having it stand alone, it's a blanket for the whole ordinance and not just 1/4 of the ordinance, one out of 4 different types of short-term rentals. The way that she wrote it covers everything. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
I just ask that we vote on just vote on both amendments and then separately and then.
I know how to do this at this point. Okay. Councilor Flynn, did you have your hand up?
No.
Okay. Okay, so on Councilor Dibble's amendment that was seconded by Councilor Flynn to pull the short-term rental back out on that matter. So on the amendment, all those in...
This is the R1?
No, so we're going to
Okay,
we do the most recent amendment and then do the last amendment and then we'll do the vote. So we'll get everything tied up. Okay, so on Councilor Dibble's amendment, seconded by Councilor Flynn, to pull the short-term rental definition out. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. So on Councilor Turiel's amendment, seconded by Councilor McCarthy, to put the N back in the R1 section of the table of principal and accessory uses under section 3.0. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Nope, we're not done. Please don't. And please don't clap at all. Not okay. Okay, so on the adoption of the proposed zoning ordinance amendment for first passage by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Milo?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
Councilor Gerard?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the zoning amendment relative to short-term rentals, section 3.0, table of principal and accessories use, and section 2.0 definitions, all as amended. We have 10 councilors voting, 10 in the affirmative, none in the negative, and 1 absent. The matter carries. Petitions.
We have a request from Comcast to install a conduit on Northey Street.
Hearing ordered October 18th, 2018. Further petitions.
We have a petition from the Songstall School, request that the use of end of Salem Street to hold a block party on October 25th from 5:30 PM to 7 PM.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move this be granted.
Councilor Terrell moves this be granted. Under discussion.
No discussion. This is something the school's trying for the neat little thing that the school's trying for their community, and it's not that busy a street, so.
Thank you. On Councilor Terrell's motion that this be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a list of public guides.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to be granted.
Councilor McCarthy moves that these be granted. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Councilor McCarthy's motion that these be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a list of 4 claims.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Councilor McCarthy moves that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 11, bus stops for Congress Street Bridge.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Councilor McCarthy moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage for an ordinance to amend an ordinance regarding short-term residential rentals to allow registration fees for short-term rentals in the city of Salem.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Councilor McCarthy moves for adoption for second and final passage. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Councilor McCarthy's motion for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Councilor Fury.
This is a personal privilege, if I may.
And a personal
If I may. This is the night of veterans tonight, a real night of celebration of veterans, Roger Legier. I forgot to mention a veteran also, Paul LaRue, a Vietnam veteran, who's just stepped down as the Director of Buildings and Grounds. He is the essence of a quiet, a veteran. If you sat next to Paul, you would never know you'd be a Vietnam veteran. He is a humble, wonderful, kind man. I think it's going to take 3 or 4 people just to replace him as Director of Buildings and Grounds. I don't know how the school department's ever going to do it. There's so many facilities, but tonight is the night of veterans, and Paul, if you're listening tonight, you're a veteran's veteran. Thanks for serving. A motion to adjourn, Madam President?
Actually, one more quick thing, sorry. Just want to take a moment, if we can just take a moment of silence. Sidney Shacknow passed away. Sidney was a longtime Ward 6 resident. He was this incredible, incredible man. He was a veteran, also part of the class of 55. He used to play at the pit that is now Gorgeous McGlue, and I'm sorry that he can't see it. So if we could just have a quick moment of silence for Mr. Shacknow. Thank you. Okay, now Councilor Fury.
Motion to adjourn, Madam President?
Councilor Fury motions to adjourn. We are adjourned at 9. Oh.